Have you dreamed of bigger things for your life? Then you are in the right place. Each week, you will be given tips on how to change your inner dialogue, conquer your goals, and ways to step into a higher version of yourself. I'm your host, Lauren Kubat. I'm a motivational speaker who hosts personal development events. I'm a sought-after fitness instructor, a wife, and a mom of 2 young boys. I'm obsessed with all things personal development, and I believe anyone can achieve the life they want. Let the Become Your Vision podcast be the inspiration you need to step into greater things. Now let's go. Hi guys, welcome to the show. Where are you listening? Are you on a walk, getting ready for the day, driving, doing something weird? Whatever it is, I am just happy you are here. Today I have my friend Jaime Rowe. He is a personal trainer. I met him a few years ago when my husband and I guess it was just one of our sons at the time, moved here to Charleston. Super nice. We do swear a little bit in this episode today, so maybe don't listen with kids in the car or earmuffs. I don't know. We also talk about his addiction to some opioids. That's a hard word to say, or at least it is for me. Alcohol abuse, and what it's like to live in a retirement community when you are super young. Also, in the very beginning, I would say halfway through the show, the audio gets so much better. He had headphones in and Bluetooth headphones, and there was a delay. I don't know if that was the problem, but once he turned those off, it got so much better. So hopefully my husband can do some editing. By the time you hear it, it's not a problem. And we are doing a giveaway. So he has 2 online programs. So one lucky winner will win one of his online programs. So you can get your butt kicked, because he trained me a few weeks ago and he kicked my butt. Okay, so stay tuned for the giveaway and enjoy. Hi guys. Welcome back to the show. If you follow me on Instagram, you would have seen that I worked out with, well, depending on when I release this show, with Jaime Rowe, and he is on the show today. Let me give you a little insight about Jaime. Jaime was one of the first people I met when we moved here from Indiana to Charleston. Super down to earth guy. Jaime is a personal trainer, a father, just overall the nicest guy. He is so eager to help others, and I'm excited to have him here today to chat. So Jaime, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. And yeah, it's my pleasure to be here.
Sweet deal. So I don't know if you remember this, but okay, so when we moved here, Pivotal, I guess I don't know if I should say the gym or not. Well, whatever. It doesn't matter. Pivotal was the first gym we went to. I think you signed up Tom and I. Tom is my husband, and you're just super cool. And I remember one of the first things you asked me, you're like, "Are you and your husband like competing?" And I was like, "No," but I took it as like the best compliment, because I was like, "Oh, why did you ask that?" And you're like, "Oh, you guys are just in really good shape." I'm like, I like this guy even more.
That's funny, because honestly, I don't remember. I almost don't remember selling you guys a membership first. I just remember you working there, but that is how, I don't know, a lot of people would come check the gym out and then they'd sign up and then end up working there. So that's kind of one of the ways it goes. But yeah, I remember you guys coming from up north, and being that I had been from Jersey, coming down here, it's definitely a change of pace. And like when you meet people from up north, it's kind of like, oh, hey, you know, you kind of can relate. So
yeah, for sure. Transplants. So JB, how did you start your fitness journey?
This started for me when I was a young kid. I mean, I played sports growing up. I think probably as early as maybe 6 or 7. And then I think weightlifting though, and actually the actual fitness aspect of it started before high school football. So I was year of high school, if I remember correctly, and actually had brought me to the YMCA one day And I remember him showing me how to bench press with just the bar. And I remember just struggling with just a bar, you know, it's 45 pounds. But
Mm-hmm.
that initially was what got me going. And, you know, training for football really was the main thing that kind of started my lifting and training.
Mm. Did you ever feel like did it come naturally to you, or like did you ever struggle with your weight, or what was that like?
Like my weight, like how much I weighed, or like with like lifting, you mean?
Yeah, like how much you weighed.
I really didn't, and not back then. Honestly, it wasn't until after high school that I even really was concerned with kind of my own image or how I looked.
Mm.
During playing sports, I really just trained to get stronger. I wasn't concerned if I had abs or if I was, you know, what I looked like. I lifted, but I definitely struggled initially, and I don't think it came sort of natural, but it wasn't. It definitely was odd, and it took learning and doing to figure it out. You know, when I first lifted, I remember not being able to balance or stabilize a barbell. You know, so it definitely took some doing to figure out.
Yeah. Another thing that just popped up in my head is, so I was a personal trainer. Now I focus more on group fitness, but I remember my girlfriend, shout out to Jessica. That's how I met her. I was training her and I wasn't there that day. It was my day off or something. And she had come into the gym to use the machines. And I was calling this one machine booty blaster. And for some reason, it was stuck or broken. And she came up to the front desk asking you, hey, can you help me with the booty blaster? And you're like, booty blaster? And she had like walk you over there to use it. Do you remember that?
I don't remember that. Just because all the questions that I had gotten asked there, and no, I don't remember the booty blaster. That's a good one though.
It was the
Just making
one
up
where
new
you
names.
like you're standing and then you push one leg back, you push it back.
The glute kickbacks, maybe.
Yes, glute kickbacks.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like,
Okay.
I just called it, I just made up this like name.
There's a good one though for that.
Yeah, for sure. Now they have at the Crunch, they have the booty builder, which yeah, is basically a glute bridge. Yeah, that one is tough. So okay, I didn't realize this about you. We're gonna get into it a little bit more personal. So you had struggled with opioids and substance abuse. Is that correct?
That's something that I didn't really share maybe before for a while, and in the last couple of years, I've definitely kind of been more open about, you know, some of the stuff I've been through. I mean, I put the stuff on my Instagram, and I've definitely mentioned it more than once that that's something that's been a big part of my life, or trying to work or stuff. And that's definitely something that I felt like was important for me to kind of share and not try to hide about myself. So
Mm. Yeah. So okay, so let's talk about it. How long did you struggle, and like talk about getting into it? When did you know this became a problem or was becoming a problem?
high school, um, after high school, I stopped playing football, and college football didn't work out the way that I kind of initially thought it would. Some things with life kind of happened, and moving out from my parents when I was 18, and I ended up staying at one of my friends' houses in Jersey, and it was kind of it was it wasn't the best environment to be in. There was, a lot of alcohol, and we had access to drugs and stuff like that, and pills and weed and all that. So it started a little bit then. I kind of could tell that it was something that probably wasn't going to end well if I stayed there. So I ended up moving down to South Carolina. And I was 19, I think, when I came down. I moved in with my grandparents in the retirement community. And I got away from all that, and really got into working out and working and just saving money and staying with them, trying to get myself back into school and trying to get my life together. And, and then as I moved out again into my own, things had happened. I had some injuries, and that is kind of what got me back into that cycle. Was I had been drinking, had broken my hand from punching something. Then they prescribed me pain medicine. I got addicted to it, and then kind of more or less for most of my 20s, my early 20s, I kind of went back and forth with that. And then, I found out that there was a medicine you could get on that would help, get off of the painkillers, which is called Suboxone. I went on and off on that for years. Most of the years I was on it, and it just basically prevents you from getting sick or having opioid withdrawals. So I took that, and it was prescribed from a doctor, so it was kind of easy to justify taking. And finally at about 29, I realized that I didn't want to be on that medicine, because you did get sick, when you didn't have it, or every day you'd kind of feel sick until you took it. And I just was like, this isn't it wasn't a fun way to go about living. So I knew that wasn't something I wanted to be on for the rest of my life. And, I made myself a promise that before 30, I was going to get off of that and get back into the best shape of my life. And I actually did do both of those things. I continued to drink after, and I kind of, even for all those 10 years, like the drinking would lead to me having an emotional episode or breakdown where I'd kind of get mad or, break my hand or do something stupid. And I never really wanted to admit that I probably shouldn't drink. So I kind of continued to drink. And, up half ago, when Kylie was 4 months, about 4 months before she was due, I just kind of was like, I'm going to stop drinking, because I don't see it being something that serves me and helps me. So.
Wow. What an incredible journey. Out of like the painkillers and the alcohol, that came out really Chicago, alcohol. What was harder for you to give up?
The pain medicine the medicine I was on, the Suboxone, I had gone through withdrawal before from stopping taking just painkillers, like things like oxycodone or hydrocodone, whatever, Oxycontin. And the withdrawals from that were shorter and not as bad. The way that the Suboxone works and the way that it binds to the opioid receptors in your brain, it does, especially if you take it over a long course of time or a long period of time, it's a lot worse to come off of. So quitting that was way harder. I mean, honestly, that's probably one of the hardest things I've ever done, was to do that. And I don't recommend the way I did it, because I did it without going to a treatment center or without the help of a doctor. I just stopped it cold turkey. And I mean, I was like sick for probably a good 2.5 months, no sleep experience. But alcohol, I never had withdrawals from, I never had was never physically addicted to alcohol. I just the type of person that I can't have 1 or 2 drinks. I drink until it's all gone. So,
yeah. So how did you get through that with what was the name of the medicine that you were coming off of? How did you, the name of it again? And then, how did you get through that, months of not sleeping and the physical side effects of it?
Suboxone is what it's called. It's similar to methadone. And as far as, honestly, when I had stopped taking it, Kylie and I had just started dating. This is almost 3 years ago now, but meeting her and kind of having, I think, some of the dopamine and things going on from the initial getting together, that helped. But realistically, I had done it once before, some years before. I made it through most of the withdrawals, and then I went back on the medicine, and I knew that the feeling of not being on it, I had a period where I wasn't on painkillers or anything in my 20s. And I just literally kept remembering that feeling of being free and not being physically dependent on something. And, I just kept focused on that as much as I possibly could. And honestly, I worked a full-time job at Gerald's, and I trained people at Pip on the side. So the staying busy helped, but it was not, it was pretty challenging. I had to do everything I could to kind of get through it. Listening to motivational videos helped a lot on YouTube, and, just knowing that there was freedom on the other side, that was definitely the biggest motivator to get through.
Freedom on the other side. Like, yeah, I love that, because it's like, if you wait long enough, not only, I mean, sometimes just it's at the end of the day, it's time is what's on your side. It's like, that's the only, in anything in life, like if you lose someone, if you're going through something hard, it's like, you want things to happen like instantly, but at the end of the day, it's like, you have to go through the motions. You have to, feel all the feelings rather than numb yourself in order to get through whatever battle you're facing. But if you have it in your brain, like, it's not going to hurt like this forever. It's not going to be this hard forever, even though at the moment it feels like that, but eventually you're going to just like feel like a sense of relief.
True. And I mean, yeah, that's exactly how it is. I knew that feeling. And then on the other side of it, no matter how uncomfortable it was, I'm like, okay, I can't grow or progress with my life if I don't find a way to get through that. So,
Yeah. Do you feel, because how old are you again?
32 in October. Yeah.
Okay. Well, happy birthday. You're welcome. I'm trying to read your lips and tell people what you're saying. I wonder if it's because, try disconnecting from your Bluetooth headphones. Try it. Hey, before we continue with the show, I want to talk to you about something that you might not think about too often, but it is vital in keeping you and your family safe, and that's insurance. In today's hectic world, we women have so many roles and things on our plate. Our to-do list seems to get longer and longer. Rachel Davenport, the principal agent at LH Griffith and Company, understands, because she is a wife and mother herself. Rachel can assist you with all of your insurance needs, whether it is trying to find the best deals on auto insurance, helping select the most appropriate home insurance coverage, or helping you protect your family with health and life insurance. Rachel does it all. We know what a headache it can be to select the best insurance. So to save yourself precious time and energy, give Rachel Davenport a call today for all your insurance needs. Her number is 864-828-0579. That's 864-828-0579. Or find her on Facebook at Rachel Sells Insurance. All her information is in the show notes. Okay, back to the show.
Is that better?
I think that's better. We'll see.
All right, cool.
Okay, I think so. There's just like an extra thing in there, whatever it has to go through, however the internet works in my brain. Yeah, exactly. When you go, because you are young, when you go to like a social gathering, do you ever feel like, when you don't have like a cocktail or a drink, is it harder for you to like engage, or do you ever still have like the urge to like, oh, it'd be so nice right now to be able to have like a beer or something?
Yeah, 100%. It's pretty hard. That part of the drinking is still the challenge for me, and trying to learn how to operate in those situations without it's hard. I mean, just a perfect example was Halloween. I had to leave a Halloween party recently because everybody was ripping Jello shots, and there were maybe one other or two other people there that didn't drink, but it just was like, for me, going to those types of parties and being in those situations, all I kind of know is to relax or enjoy them through drinking. So yeah, that. And then on July 4th, this past summer, everybody was ripping tequila shots in front of me, and I'm just like, man, I fucking want to drink. So those situations I don't really put myself in often, because I know that is usually a struggle, and I don't try not to make it any harder than it has to be with that,
Yeah. So I'm doing, it sounds silly, but I'm doing like no drink November type of thing. And just because I want to challenge my brain, I want to challenge and I wanted a drink. I had a stressful day yesterday and I don't need a drink every single night. I do once in a while like to have a glass of wine to like chill out after like a hard day. I do like social drinking. There are times when I'm like, oh man, I drank too much. I said something silly or I said something stupid. Did I offend somebody? Those instances probably happen at least like once a year where I drink way too much. I'm like, oh shit. But
Yeah.
yeah, but so it is, I've noticed in the social setting, especially when everybody else is drinking, it's like that is like the hardest because I don't know if it's you get social anxiety at parties. There's a lot of energy going around. It's something that that's how you celebrate is through a drink. So do you recommend if people are trying to become sober just to like remove themselves from that situation or try not to go in those types of situations?
Yeah, I think so. That's where it gets hard because it's like you also, one of the big struggles for me is like Kylie's young, she doesn't have a drinking problem. So it's hard because I feel guilty that I don't want to usually even get into those types of situations. But I think for sure, if you have a problem and it's challenging for you, like why make it harder for yourself by being in those situations?
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, it totally depends, I guess, on the person. But in most cases, I would say, yeah, probably your best bet is to find a different way to relax or to go blow off steam aside from going out with a bunch of other people who are drinking if you're trying not to.
Mm-hmm. Now, how old's Kylie?
She is 23,
Okay, I didn't realize that. Wow. So you guys are what, 23,
9 years.
9 years apart. Okay, so she's kind of like, she's young, wants to, have fun. Now, is it hard like if you want to go out to dinner and, she wants to have a glass of wine or anything like that or
The funny part about that is no, it's not. Or at certain times it can be, but like I buy her bottles of wine at the store, and I'll bring them home, and like I don't that really doesn't bother me. It's weird. Most times it doesn't. If I'm really super stressed out and like she has a beer or a glass of wine, there's times at home where I'm like, ooh, that fucking looks good. I wish I could have one. But for the most part in those situations, it's not quite as bad. It's not the same as like going to a party or something. I don't know what the difference is there with that, but it's definitely gotten easier over time too. Just.
yeah. Yeah. I think it's just because there's a lot of people around. And I think now I would probably say five now. I think maybe you're probably the fifth person on here that has talked about their sobriety. There's a lot of, I don't know if there's some kind of movement too, is like what's it called? Like sober curiosity. People are trying to not drink. I feel like I don't know. It's just, there's been like this wave, especially from the younger crowd saying like, you don't have to like drink to have a good time. And there's a lot more, I haven't tried any, I don't know if you have, but like a lot more drinks that they don't include alcohol, but you could pour them in a glass of a wine glass or something like that and bring them to a party and they kind of look like a cocktail. So there's more options. Have you ever had one of those?
I have not heard of that or no.
Okay, I guess there's one Groovy, Gruvi. It's funny too. I went to an event with a girlfriend and it was like such a fun vibe, cool. And she was drinking and it was like November because I'm like, I just want to try it. I just want to prove to myself. I want to practice discipline and just see. So we went, she had a cocktail and I remember that was like so hard for me because I'm like, oh, I want one so bad. But then somebody else told me, I think it was Kate Moon when she was on this show. It's like there's this connection if of having something in your hand to make it feel like you're part of something. So I went and got a LaCroix and poured it, had them give me like a plastic cup and poured it in the plastic cup. And that actually, I did something to my brain, but I felt because I had something in my hand, I didn't feel so awkward.
Yeah, that makes sense. That definitely makes sense. I've tried that. That doesn't work for me necessarily, but I mean, I think whatever you can do to help yourself be more disciplined, or like if you felt like that made a difference and you're trying not to drink for this month or whatever, then, use that again, use anything you can to help yourself.
Yeah, just for people that are listening that you might be sober curious or just have a goal, or maybe you just don't want to. Because also too, I was like, sometimes whatever, it could be food, it could be partying, it could be whatever it is we do when we're stressed. Instead of feeling all the feels, as a culture, we kind of just like look to something to numb out the stress, numb out the sadness. And I'm like, especially last night, I'm like, oh, I had a stressful day, I'm like, I just want a glass of wine. And then I was like, Lauren, it's okay to be stressed, it's okay to not have the best day. And you don't need something to suppress your emotions. And I feel like we put ourselves like in this like bubble or on this like pedestal that we feel like we have to be a certain way all the time.
Yeah, that's a huge, like for me personally, that's a huge struggle, is like, and just being in a relationship now for the period of time we've been together, like I've had to really learn, especially not being able to drink, like what feelings are kind of real, and like those moments where I would drink if I was a little stressed or I didn't want to feel or think about what was going on or deal with it. I couldn't agree more. Like we always look to numb out those truths or to avoid them. And like, you can't really you can't like figure yourself out, or you can't figure your own shit out when you're constantly trying to numb yourself, and it's definitely a culture thing. I think with food, overeating, it's easy to do, like all these things are easy to do, but the pressure of trying to always be on, always
Right.
be on and not letting yourself be. I have the same thing. Like I'm like, it's okay for me to be stressed out. Like, cause I'm always so optimistic and outgoing. She'll be like, if the minute I'm not like that, it's like, what's wrong? And I'm like, a lot of the times I'm just working through my own shit in my head and like allowing myself to do that and knowing that like, it's okay to be like in a funk, like, and I struggle with that. So I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. And especially in relationships too. Like I always say, like Tom, if he, because, we're in a relationship, we always want the other person to feel like, good. And if the other person is not feeling good, we almost like internalize it. Like, what can I do to help this person? Or did I do something to, and it works both ways. Like, I think, when I'm upset, he's like, oh, why are you upset? And, vice versa. It's like, if he's in a bad mood, I'm like, okay, what's wrong? How can we fix that? And it's just like, sometimes it's best to just let the person be. Like, if they're in a shitty mood, you're going to have shitty days,
Yeah. Yeah. You're not responsible for how somebody else feels. And I know we do that. Like the minute somebody's off, it's like, what's wrong? What did I do something to cause it? And like, you have to work through your own shit, like in your own way, so
yeah,
definitely challenging.
Totally. So what do you do to like relax? Is like, do you take CBD? Is there anything that like, do you do deep breathing, or like when you're like in a funk, what helps you?
I do like CBD gummies, those have helped me in certain circumstances, but with those, the problem is they do get me hungry and I'll eat everything. So, I mean, realistically, it's just practicing for me, like just dealing with things as they come. And obviously working out is always been a huge like stress reliever for me. And most of the time I'm pretty much by the end of the day tired enough that like I'll take a melatonin or whatever before bed, and I eat my like protein ice cream, and I look forward to that as like my way to relax at night. Like I kind of do that consistently, and that definitely helps me out to where like I can go without needing anything other than that, you know?
Mm-hmm. What's your protein ice cream that you use?
Ooh, I just use chocolate almond milk. I use whey casein chocolate protein, like a 6-star brand from Walmart. And it's actually one of the better tasting ones that I've tried, a couple different kinds. And then I put peanut butter in it and ice, and what else? I put a little Truvia in there to make it a little sweeter. And then really that's it. I just blend it up. And some nights I'll put like a cookie or Oreo in there. I don't usually do that. I actually posted on my story the other night. I was like, fuck it, I deserve these. And I did 2 Oreos. I threw 2 Oreos in that thing, and I was like, ooh, that's going to be good.
Ooh, that sounds delicious. But
yeah, if you get the ice to liquid ratio right, it's like having a Frosty or like, an ice cream, and it's really good.
Okay, say the whey casing.
Yeah, I literally have this recipe too on my Instagram posted. Like I did a reel one night of it, like me making it with all the stuff, so I can share that to you. Share that with you, or
Yeah, no, that's great. And then also, I just want to comment. It was the headphones. Like I can hear you fine.
Really? Okay.
Yes. It's so weird. Yeah, I'll leave we'll share that at the very end to your handle and all of that so people can follow you. But I want to talk about like, when did you decide that you wanted to become a personal trainer?
I moved down here to South Carolina. I had started going to a gym. I think I was 20, and I remember watching my friend, he's my friend now, but at the time, this guy, Brock Mead, his name, and not that I'm homosexual, but he's very handsome, just good looking dude. I just remember watching him train, and I'm like, you know what? I would be fucking good at that. Like, and I love to work out. I'm like, so that kind of made me go for it, and get my certification through NASM, and it didn't happen quite that quickly like that, but yeah, that's what initially inspired me. I remember being on the cardio equipment and just seeing him train people, and I'm like, I was waiting tables at the time, so I'm like, fuck that. I'm like, that would be much more fun than serving tables. So
that's awesome. You mentioned something earlier, and I just wanted to I don't know, talk about it. Cause it kind of reminded me of like grandma's boy, but how was it like living with your grandparents in a retirement community?
That was it. They were like my biggest fans. So that really, it was amazing in certain ways. Especially after the kind of situation that I left in Jersey, but it was very challenging because at the time I was 19. So all my friends were at college, and I was going to like the pub with my grandparents on the weekend, to watch, to listen to somebody sing karaoke. And that part sucked. I would definitely get bummed out. And like my friends would be posting on Facebook all while they're raging at college. So I'd have serious FOMO for sure while I was there.
Yeah. And I imagine I don't know, being 19, you want to look at babes, and you're in Del Webb or something.
There were some babes. All right.
What's your craziest retired community story? Do you have any of an old person running over somebody in their golf cart or something?
Really, the thing, strangely enough, I don't. I mean, I would go to the gym center there and work out. I was really into tennis. They had really nice tennis courts, but I don't really remember any kind of craziness going on that nothing I can recall that stood out aside from maybe my own shenanigans. I remember one night going out eating sushi and drinking like a whole bottle of Firefly sweet tea. And I woke up like just with green puke all over the room.
Oh,
And I tried to, run and hide or wash the blanket so my grandparents wouldn't see that I threw up all over it. But no older people craziness.
Oh my gosh. Were you like, did the older ladies try to like hit on this 19-year-old kid?
They called me, my grandparents' friends call me the Cabana Boy. I think that was my nickname.
I just imagine, because I imagine myself at 19 living in, retirement, like community,
Yeah.
it's hard to meet people.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It was a challenge. I worked at a restaurant in there though too, where I ended up meeting like my my closest friends that I had there at the time. And some of them were trouble and some of them were good, but there were luckily some people my age that worked in the restaurant and stuff that was in the facility. So,
oh, that's good. Did you ever play pickleball?
I did not play pickleball. They didn't put pickleball courts in there though, till long after I moved out of there.
Damn, I've never played, but that is an old person thing. They're all about the pickleball.
They love pickleball and they love the golf in there. There's really nice golf courses too.
Ooh, golfing, swimming.
Yeah. Pickleball courts, swimming, golfing. Trying to think. Yeah, but the tennis courts too are really nice there. That was fun. But other than that, pretty boring being in a retirement home.
Yeah, I would imagine. Okay, so let's go back to your like personal training. And I feel like in the last, I don't know, like what has your journey been like as a personal trainer? And then kind of going through your own like fitness journey. You talked about like you were going to get, I guess, a few years ago when you got off the medication and you're like, I'm going to really focus on my nutrition and my fitness. What were kind of like, what was like, I guess, any like breakthroughs that you had, or do you feel like it was the medication that was holding you back from really reaching the goals that you wanted to?
I think that what happened more or less with the medication, because ultimately it came down to the nutrition for me to really get at least to where, I was in good enough shape to see like my abs again or whatever. And I didn't really, in my 20s, I was never really lean enough to that point. I had wanted to get there, but I trained and worked out hard. I lifted, I was strong, but I never was willing to figure out or give up enough of the bad food to get to that point where I was like, oh, wow, I'm pretty ripped. Mm-hmm. So that took a long time for me to get back to figuring that out. And I think that getting off the medicine just more or less was like, once I learned that I could do that and I was in control of myself again, more like then I was like, okay, if I can do that, I can dial my food in and like get and just take myself maybe to a fitness level I've never been. And I was in good shape, even on the medicine, or like whatever kind of good shape I could have been on it. And I would run and I was fairly lean, but I never got to the level that I got until I got off it. And I think that's just more due to the mentality that I had once I got off it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Talk about your nutrition. How does it change? What does your diet look like right now?
So for the most part, I eat pretty much the same foods, over and over. I wish it was more exciting than that, but usually I eat oatmeal in the morning. I have a protein shake after I work out. And then the main foods that, I'll eat for lunch and dinner are typically lean turkey, salmon, or steak or ground beef ground burgers. I haven't eaten a lot of those lately. Mostly it's like salmon, vegetables, and jasmine rice, coconut jasmine rice. That's huge. Sweet potatoes, and then vegetables like greens, egg whites too. I eat egg whites almost every day with spinach. And then at night I do eat the protein shake, the protein ice cream. And some nights I do, like the other night I had 3 packages of Pop-Tarts. Like I'm not perfect, but I'd say most of the time I don't do that. I'm usually pretty disciplined with my food. And just because I know how quickly
what happens is like, if I do that, then it's really easy to go on like a week bender of just eating shit and saying, oh, I'm okay. And then you do that for 2 weeks and you look and you're like, oh, my abs just disappeared. And then I'm mad at myself. So I've learned over time what works and what doesn't, what I can get away with and what I know isn't really helping me.
Right. And you cut out so many other things in your life. And it's like that, if that's sugar is your like one vice that you have it occasionally, it's like, okay, you deserve it,
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I just have to be careful because like anything, it's so easy to get addicted to it and to overdo it. So
yeah. What do you put in your oatmeal?
I put Truvia and cinnamon in it. Sometimes I'll use a little bit of the low sugar, the maple brown sugar packet. Like the lower sugar one, I'll rip it and I'll use maybe like a quarter of it just to give it some flavor. But other than that, I eat it pretty much plain, just cinnamon and then Truvia I put in there.
Have you ever tried putting peanut butter?
Yes, I have. And believe it or not, for how much of a peanut butter freak I am, I don't enjoy peanut butter in my oatmeal. I can't get down. Yeah, you like it?
I love it. And I'm also one of those weird people, like I like my oatmeal thick and not watery.
Yeah, I like mine thick though. I like it thick. I like the oatmeal thick.
She thick.
I like it. Yeah.
But that's weird that you don't like it with peanut butter.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm weird. I'm a weird guy though, I am.
Hey, we're all weird, right?
Yeah.
So talk about the type of training. So you just are we allowed to talk about it? Your JOB?
What? Ooh, that's a tricky one. It's a tricky one just because I haven't gotten the letter yet still. So
gotcha. Okay. So we'll leave that out or cut that out. What minute mark is this? Towards the end, I'll put 50 minutes probably. I'm going to go like this so Tom knows when to edit it up. So can you talk about what type of workout plans that you offer and what type of personal training that you do?
Yeah. I mean, this is kind of one of those things where with training, I pretty much am going to vary the training depending on what the person's goals are and what they're looking to do. I've had people, usually my clients tend to want to lose weight. I have worked with some people that want to gain weight. So obviously that's going to be two kind of different workout programs and stuff like that. Online right now, I have some programs that are geared towards, one is maybe an intermediate or somebody that's lifted for a bit that's just kind of not feeling like they know what to do in the gym, like what routine to follow. So I have a push pull and then leg split. And then I have another program that's a hypertrophy program. So more if you're looking to build muscle and do like individual muscle groups like chest one day, back one day, legs one day, more of like your typical bro split type of workout. But both are great for anybody that's stuck or needs something to follow. Cause it honestly now with all this stuff that's out there, it gets very random. Like you could pick up all these workouts on Instagram or online, but you're not really making any progress if you're not doing some of the same moves consistently. So I think that's where those programs are kind of good. They'll help you get some consistency with the basic moves, Definitely.
And let's go back to that first program, the push, pull. What was the other thing?
Push, pull legs.
Push, pull legs. So they get how many workouts for how many weeks?
So it's a 8-week program. It's just 2 months. And it's 4 workouts per week. So I am horrible at math, but 32 workouts, I believe, in total.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And how much is it?
So it's $75 on the website right now.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. And what we're going to do is that's super affordable. And what's cool about this, okay, yeah, you pay for the 8 weeks, but you're going to have these workouts all the time that you can do all the time. So actually, because you can repeat whatever, what we're going to do for our listeners today is if you screenshot this episode and tag myself and Jamie, what are you on Instagram again?
It's J Rowe Fit.
J Rowe Fit. I will leave that in the show notes. But if you tag him and myself and take a screenshot of this episode, we're choosing one winner to win one of Jamie's amazing online programs.
Let's go. Tag us.
Tag us. You know what? The number of people that are like, well, I'm not going to do it because I probably won't win. I'm definitely one of those people. Like before, it's like I've entered things before and I'm like, I'm not, I haven't won. So I'm not going to even try like somebody else's, but I'm telling you, do it because this is a real giveaway. It's not like one of those things that you see on social media where there is no winner and it's just a contest and to have followers and stuff. By the way, if you tag Jamie or tag myself, make sure you're following us because that's a kind thing to do in this stupid world that we live in of social media. It's freaky though. Like, it is crazy because we can get caught up in that stuff, but it does matter. It really does, especially if you have a business. Followers matter. You reach more people, all of the things. But
we got kids to feed people. Come on.
Yes, because your little guy turned 1 in September.
Yep, freak.
Oh my gosh. We both, I have 2 boys. Gosh.
Ooh, trouble.
They are trouble. They are full of energy, but I guess girls can be trouble too. So, it's kids.
Kids, yeah.
Ooh. Kids. Okay. So one last question before we go, because you are such a uplifting person, you love helping people. What are some of the things or YouTube channels that you listen to really get in your mindset and we're able to help yourself before you can help others?
I would say in the last couple of years, the go-tos have been Eric Thomas is definitely number one for me. Les Brown, I love, those 2, and Gary Vaynerchuk. Those 3 probably were the main 3 that I listened to every single day when I was going through the withdrawals from the medicine. And I remember just listening to a lot of their stuff. I know some people kind of get annoyed by the rah-rah type of things they have to say or whatever. But the truth is life is challenging for everybody. Everybody has struggles and shit, whether they want to talk about them or not. But those videos and some of those things really helped me through some really difficult times. So I listen to those guys. And there's a guy, Ben Lionel Scott, who has a YouTube, Instagram page, and he does what would you call it? He does mashups or video edits of a bunch of different motivational speakers kind of edited into one 3-minute video. And he's got a lot of really, really good inspirational, motivational type of stuff. Just if you're needing somebody to yell at you or kind of to maybe tell you some of the things you don't want to hear, definitely some good material there.
Yeah, definitely would recommend listening to that prior to a workout because it's I'm unstoppable. That will hype the shit out of you.
Yeah, it definitely hypes you up. It's definitely helpful.
For sure. Awesome. So again, share your social media again, and I'll put in the show notes.
Yeah, it's JROWE and then FIT, FIT, all one word.
Awesome. Love it. And you guys make sure you take a screenshot of this episode, tag Jamie and myself, and you can win an 8-week program that's going to kick your butt. Especially, I know a lot of people are going to want to get hype for 2022. But
oh man, yeah. Oof.
I can't believe it. But thank you, Jamie, so much for being here. You. And I appreciate you. Thank you for sharing your story.
Anytime. Thank you for having me.
Yes, of course. You guys, if you love this episode, please make sure to leave a review. And remember, you got this. Thank you so much for tuning in today. If you love this episode, make sure you are subscribed so you know when more episodes come available. My goal is to inspire others to become their vision, and one way to get the word out is with reviews. I would really appreciate it if you left an honest review on iTunes, and it would mean so much to me. Thanks again, and remember to go after the life you want. Bye, guys.